Hello?
Hello, Dr. Hayden. How are you?
Are you Duff?
I am Duff, yes.
Oh, Duff.
Hey, gang. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Listen, everyone, I think we're going to get started here. Thank you all for joining us. I have with me today two very special guests. One is the head of the Wisconsin Education Association, Ron Duff Martin. He represents all the teachers throughout Wisconsin. And we also have special guests today, the librarian of the Library of Congress, Dr. Carla Hayden. In a moment, I'm going to ask them to deliver a few remarks about what this video press conference is. But first, I do want to acknowledge that this is National Teacher Appreciation Week, an opportunity for all of us to express our gratitude to our teachers, our educators, and the tremendous challenge that they've had standing up distance learning opportunities for our students in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. We all knew that when the virus established a hold on the United States, we would have to implement social distancing, and that soon our school and classrooms would have to be emptied for the health of our children and their families and for the staff in our school districts. Many of our students probably believe this is a perpetual snow day here in Wisconsin. But we also knew it was important for us to continue their educational development online through distance learning. And we knew that was going to pose a tremendous challenge. It's a challenge for our students who have been taken out of their normal daily structure in school, where they can learn face-to-face with a teacher and with their classmates. It's been a tremendous challenge for our teachers, who we literally asked to pivot on a dime and change from in-class instructional content to distance learning and the multitude of challenges that that brings. And it's been a huge challenge for our parents, who have been putting on multiple hats right now, including being a teacher and working with their students, so that they can continue to enhance their educational experience. That's come with considerable pain and frustration and anxiety, unfortunately. But this issue's also highlighted the huge digital divide that still exists in our country and the educational inequities that results from it. We clearly have to address that as we emerge from this crisis. But that's not the purpose of today's meeting. The purpose of today's meeting is to talk about the extraordinary opportunity we have to teach our students about the story about us, about the United States of America, who we are, where we came from, our history, our culture, our democratic institutions, the values that should unite us as Americans. And yet, what better institution to help teach that story of us than one of our great national treasures, the Library of Congress. In recent years, and especially it's been accelerated under the leadership of Dr. Hayden, they've been democratizing all of the materials and resources and treasures that exist at the Library of Congress and making that available over the internet. It's a tremendous opportunity now, and I hope that teachers will go to the Library of Congress and explore the possibilities of integrating that material into their lesson plans. I know the library has been working with teachers in order to develop those lesson plans so that it doesn't have to be created all over again. I'm hoping parents will work with the students and direct them to the Library of Congress website, loc.gov, and get them addicted to that. It's fun, it's exciting, it will keep them engaged, and they would learn a ton by doing it as well, not only during the course of the school year, but also during those important summer months, so that they don't decline in their educational development that much. And I'm hoping the students will explore it and use it and find out what great secrets and treasures lie. And it's neat that Dr. Hayden knows that they have a responsibility of not only preserving and protecting these great materials and treasures of our nation at the library, but also how do we better democratize it and make it available to all of our citizens, and in fact, to the citizens across the globe. And what's nice now with today's technology is that you can access it with your fingertips. You no longer have to go to Washington, D.C. to actually physically visit the Library of Congress to discover all the neat things that are there. So who better than to tell what is available at the Library of Congress than the actual acting librarian of the Library of Congress, Dr. Hayden. She's one of my favorite people in all of Washington. I went to her induction ceremony a few years ago. She made history by not only being the first female Librarian of Congress, but the first African-American Librarian of Congress. And during her induction ceremony, she reminded us that her ancestors lived in a country as African-American slaves where they could literally be killed for trying to learn to read and write. And now here she is, the first African-American female librarian of our Library of Congress. It's a story that reminds us that we still have a ways to go with race relations, but we also are making progress. So Dr. Hayden, thank you again so much for everything that you're doing at the library. And let me turn the screen over to you for your comments.
Well, thank you so much, Representative Kine, because this is the week that teachers are being shown how much we appreciate what they do. And we have received so many messages from parents who are engaging with the materials that we have online saying, wow, we didn't know what really teachers have to do. And so the Library of Congress has been working, as you mentioned, for the last few years to digitize as much material as we can. The Library of Congress has been called the world's treasure chest, and it is the nation's treasure chest. We have the papers of 23 presidents from George Washington to Coolidge. We have the diaries of Clara Barton from the Red Cross, who at this point, when you're thinking about what's going on, to be able to look at her diaries when she was going through things and helping people in serious health crises, to be able to then engage with the materials, download them and do that. We have a special teachers page. And that's what is so exciting for us, because this page lets teachers and educators go straight to our website and get specially designed curriculum materials that relate to our collections based on whatever they are trying to convey and interact with students about. For instance, we're talking about health issues. When were other times that this nation faced health issues? And we have a letter from a nurse during the 1918 pandemic before that talks about her feelings and what she had to go through and what she saw. So this website is specially designed for teachers. And we also have some fun things on there. There's a new program called Citizen DJ. Now you may ask, what is that? Citizen DJ allows the young and the young at heart and teachers to use copyright-free materials, photographs, sound recordings, film, all of these documents, and to create their own reports or messages and things like that. We also have teacher office hours. We know it's very hard during this time to connect with other educators and have online in-service and professional development. And so we have regular office hours, interactive office hours that teachers can tune into and interact with our educator staff members. And so all of these things, this teachers page in particular, that loc.gov, will give a listing of the interactive types of things, as well as things that you could use for other activities, like Dave Pelkey. And Mr. Martin will probably know, and some of your audience will know who he is. He is the best-selling author of Captain Underpants and Dogman. And he is working with the library, and he gives online graphic sessions on how to tell stories. And we also have the best-selling youth author, or youth ambassador, Jason Reynolds, who has a special interactive program called Grab a Mic, Tell Your Story. So as well as the curricular materials, the professional development, all of those things, you could actually dial in and get an education expert to work with you directly. we have some of those fun things and videos now that are on, like Make a Book. How can you take a nature walk and look at some of the photos that the library has? So all of these activities are ready. And there's a button called Engage that has all types of other materials. But we want to be that resource for teachers and educators.
Great. Well, thank you, Dr. Hayden. That's wonderful material. And I can't think of anything more fun or exciting for students to be engaged in, or perhaps make the teachers' lives a little easier as far as integrating this material into their lesson plans for distance learning opportunities. And so with that, Duff, let me turn it over to you so you can maybe give us a little more insight of what our teachers are going through these days here in the state of Wisconsin.
Thanks, Congressman Kine. I am so excited to be here today with Congressman Kine and Dr. Hayden. How fitting that in 2020, on the library's 220th anniversary, we celebrate a new way to put the Library of Congress in the hands of students, teachers, and Americans. As an 8th grade social studies teacher, I know firsthand how important it is that these students and educators have trusted sources of information. It's essential in shaping students' minds and lives, often, especially in the most rural parts of Wisconsin. It can be difficult for schools to access a depth of resources. Budgets are shrinking for schools and community libraries, and distance plays a huge role when it comes to access. It's become increasingly clear there is an equity issue, one that exists in a virtual classroom or a brick and mortar school. In my role as president of the state's largest teachers union, I hear every day from educators who are heartbroken to see the digital divide play out in real time. Just last night, a first-year teacher said, "Some kids have access and some kids are left behind. Teachers are going to be here to catch them up, but it shouldn't be that way." Educators are looking for solutions to help all their students access the best sources of information. It shouldn't matter where a child lives or what their family situation is. That's why I was thrilled to be part of today's announcement. I'm also president of the Eau Claire Patriotic Council, and I believe all Americans should be proud of this effort to share our country's rich resources far and wide. Educators in Wisconsin, we thank the Library of Congress for opening its virtual doors through an easy-to-use app that will allow students and teachers to curate their own collection. The added benefits of lesson plans, professional development, and even office hours is greatly appreciated and will be used by educators everywhere. Thanks, Dr. Hayden and Congressman Kine.
Well, thanks, Duff. And again, on behalf of a grateful nation, we thank you and all of our teachers throughout the state, not only this week, Teacher Appreciation Week, but every day. I think this has really illuminated the tremendous job teachers do, educate our youth in our country each and every day. So thank you so much. And with that, I'm sure we're all happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
I just want to, if I could just mention too, that we have Leon Potter, who's our education specialist at the Library of Congress, that's available as well on this conference. She's worked very hard.
Great. Thanks, Leanne. Thanks for joining us today.
I had one, Justin from WKBT News 8 here in La Crosse. You know, it's awesome to see that all these resources are becoming available to teachers. And I guess looking at this whole crisis, kind of, I guess, you know, why is it important to really go above and beyond? And I know that obviously we have awesome frontline people like nurses and stuff doing a great job, but why is it important to be able to provide such resources to these educators across the country, especially here in Wisconsin? If a couple of you wouldn't mind, if you all have different opinions, I would like to hear from all of you.
Sure. Yeah. Dr. Hayden, would you like to go first?
At this point, parents and teachers, and remember there are parents who are partners in the education enterprise now as well. They are at home, they are trying to help the young people in their lives navigate this different learning environment as well. So they need as many resources as they can literally tap into, and to try to help engage young people in a way that will help balance out some of the other aspects that are going on. And I think Duff might be able to talk about that as well too, that you have not only the education challenges, keeping losses at a minimal in terms of what they're learning and the learning gaps, but all the other emotional and things that are going on in the household, and that the teachers themselves have families. They have issues that they're dealing with. So the fact that we are making a real push to say, here are 60 million items about just about any subject that you can think of, and here are trusted sources and trusted facilitators to help you with this, is something we think is really important to provide and let people know about at this time.
Duff?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with Dr. Hayden. These are really challenging times, as Congressman Kind mentioned. Being able to pivot so quickly into this new environment has had its challenges. And every educator that I talk to, the number one concern they have is caring for the kids, the children that they teach, making sure that they're safe and that they're cared for, and then being able to also manage their own households at the same time. So when there's a entity out there like the Library of Congress that can help us in being able to put curriculum together, resources together to keep students engaged, we just welcome that, and we so appreciate that, because it's been a challenge. But we're going to navigate through it. And again, our number one priority is taking care of every single one of the kids in the state, in our state of Wisconsin.
And Duff, I'm glad
Justin,
oh, there's Leanne. Good. Leanne Potter.
I was just going to chime in for a second. Justin, I really appreciated your question. And like Dr. Hayden and Duff have both mentioned, the resources, what we're hearing from teachers about the resources is tremendous. They're very appreciative. But one thing that is happening that we hadn't really anticipated is during our online office hours, when we have teachers from across the country who are joining us through an online webinar platform, they're using the chat function and they're sharing ideas with one another, and they're telling each other where they're from. And then we're getting survey results where they're saying how gratifying it has been to participate in a program with their colleagues from around the country. And they're having this shared moment where they're going through things together, but they're finding solutions together as well. So again, one of those second order consequences that is coming out of this online engagement that is really, really exciting for us to witness and help support.
That sense of unity, and we're in this together.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne, for that. And Justin, the only thing I would add is, in talking to teachers, it's easier for them to identify the student who is disengaging in the classroom or perhaps falling behind. But with distance learning, that challenge becomes amplified and much more difficult to address. So one of the challenges I think we have is, how do you put in front of the students very fun, exciting, engaging education material that also empowers them in their education? And again, what better place to go than the Library of Congress for them to search and to explore, and even if they're not realizing it, learn a heck of a lot about our nation and our founding and the basic principles that unite us as a country.
Leanne's been working on this for a number of years. And Leanne, could you just give a few examples of some of the kind of fun and interesting things that teachers have been engaged with?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And I love that. Again, I'm getting such a kick out of technology these days. I just put into the Zoom chat a link to a project that the library has helped to support through our Teaching with Primary Sources grant program. It's actually a program that is serving teachers specifically in Wisconsin and in Minnesota. It's an amazing partnership that involves the historical societies of both states, as well as the departments of education in both states. And they are developing resources specifically for teachers in those 2 states that are focused on inquiry. And that's the title of the project. It's called Inquiry in the Upper Midwest. And the link there drives you directly to the resources that they're developing using Library of Congress collections, as well as the collections from those 2 state historical societies to help support the curricular goals of teachers, primarily in social studies in those 2 states. But that's one I think you definitely want to know about, Duff. If you don't already know about that one as an 8th grade social studies teacher, I hope you will get excited about it.
Great. Thanks, Leanne. Any other questions before we wrap up here today?
I had one more. I promise only one more.
It's okay.
But I guess, after hearing you all speak, and it seemed like there's a really resounding theme of unity between a lot of teachers throughout our nation, I guess, can you really speak on, I guess, the tenacity and I guess the real unique bond that teachers have with their students to be able to pivot like they have, especially in a time like this where, I'm sure all of us have had to learn about Zoom, Skype, pretty much everything you can even think of in terms of video calls. And I guess, does that kind of speak wonders about what our teachers have gone through in the span of a month to be able to provide that kind of education for everybody?
So, Duff, you want to take a run at that?
Duff.
Yeah, absolutely, Justin. And I'm so glad you asked that, because we have some really incredible educators, not only in Wisconsin, but across this country, that have really stepped up in a time of crisis, in a time of uncertainty, have provided so many assurances to parents. I mean, I think about everything from 1 million breakfasts and lunches being delivered to families all across Wisconsin since COVID, and us being sent home from our school buildings. But I think about the special ed teachers in Madison who are going to the different apartment buildings and teaching from the sidewalk. They're teaching transition skills, how some of the special needs students can do some of their independent living, washing their own clothes, and they're teaching from the sidewalk. How incredible is that? But then being able to take resources like what the Library of Congress is providing for educators can really help us to engage some of the students that we may have lost a little bit in this whole process because, they just aren't able to access the technology, or they're competing for technology time with their families. And being able to have these kinds of resources that are available at all different times really allows accessibility to a family who maybe has 5-6 people competing for internet time. So I'm so proud of our country. I'm so proud of elected officials like Congressman Kind and Dr. Hayden and Leanne, and all the work that you're doing to assist us, because it's a team effort. Well, we all recognize educators are doing a little bit extra. If it weren't for the supporting cast of all of you, we couldn't do what we do. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Hayden, you get the final word here.
We just want teachers to know that not only do we appreciate them, but we're here for them.
Great. Well, listen, we're going to wrap up here, but I want to thank Dr. Hayden and Leanne for your tremendous leadership and the work that you're doing on behalf of the library, our country, our students and teachers right now. Duff, again, we thank you and all the teachers throughout the state. This week, National Teacher Appreciation Week, but every day. We'll get through this together as we think creatively how we can continue to stimulate that learning process for all of our children. It's especially crucial right now. There are no do-overs, as we say, when it comes to the education of our kids. So thank you all for participating. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm John Henkes, president of WisconsinEye Public Affairs Network, and I'm speaking to you today to ask for your financial support. For 14 years, WisconsinEye has provided uninterrupted, gavel-to-gavel live coverage from our state capitol, the legislature, the Supreme Court, the governor's office. We're proud to continue to do that and continue through this time of crisis with important coverage. We are 100% committed to bringing these important meetings into your home or place of work. We've created online pathways that allow us to connect you live with these important events. But WisconsinEye needs your help to do so. At this time, we are facing unprecedented staffing, technical, and financial challenge. So if you rely on our coverage to stay informed on issues you care and need to know about, I ask that you consider a one-time charitable gift today to help us through this challenge. Whether you're following the DHS briefings, the Wisconsin Elections Commission, or leadership briefings from the state capitol, or any of the timely interviews conducted by our senior producer, Steve Walters, we could use your support today. If just a fraction of the thousands who value WisconsinEye coverage say yes with a gift of any size, it will provide a huge boost. So thank you. To donate, please text WisEye to 44321. That's WISEYE to 44321, or visit wiseye.org/donate. WISEYE.org/donate. Or you could send a check to 122 West Washington Avenue, Suite 200, Madison, Wisconsin, 53703. Again, thank you so much. Please be safe. Stay optimistic. We are Wisconsin.
This program is a production of WisconsinEye, an independent, nonpartisan, nonprofit media network with a mission to inform, educate, and engage the citizens of Wisconsin. WisconsinEye is the nation's first and only independently funded state civics broadcast network, providing gavel-to-gavel access to government proceedings and events at the state capitol.